Let's imagine that you're a friend of mine and you called me last night and you said, "Hi, Susie, I have decided that I too want to invest in real estate. Can you help me find something?" Woohoo, I'm so excited for you. Assuming you, my friend, want something similar to what my husband and I own and operate, I went online last night and in just a few minutes, I found a bunch of places I think we should set up visits for. In this video, I'm going to show you the listings for 5 houses that I think are worth a visit. And I'm going to explain why, and we're going to go from the most prudent to the riskiest potential investment. First, a little background. My husband and I own several long-term rental properties, including a single-family home in a village about 35 minutes away from where we live that we bought for 65,000 euros in 2021. Granted, interest rates were lower then, and they're lower in France in general. We have a 1.1% interest rate on this mortgage. So our mortgage payment, including mortgage insurance and interest, is 320 euros a month. Plus, we pay 20 euros and 20 cents a month for une assurance propriétaire non occupant, which is insurance that we have to have as the owners of the property who do not live there. And we pay 65 euros a month for the local property tax. So our operating costs are 405 euros per month. And the rent the tenants pay every month is 590 euros. So that's a comfortable difference. It's enough for us to have a little cushion in our account, our bank account that's dedicated to this property. But we're not raking in a lot of money or anything like that, but it's enough to break even. It's a 3-bedroom house with not a lot of outdoor space, just a little covered patio, and it's in a charming little village. After we officially became the owners, we spent about a week in the house doing some cosmetic touch-ups and repainting the upstairs bedrooms. And then I listed it on Le Bon Coin, and we had so much interest. I was shocked. I couldn't believe how many people contacted me in such a short period of time. So we really had our pick of the rental candidates. It was very simple and easy to find tenants for this house. I can do a more in-depth description of the house. If you want to know more, just let me know in the comments below. I don't think it's just about luck. We really went on a lot of visits. We ran a lot of numbers. We made aggressive offers. This place was listed at 73,000 euros to begin with. And we just did that until something worked out. And I understand if you are looking for something similar because this really has been a great property. Many new investors start with an apartment, but you told me that you don't want the headache of dealing with a copropriété, which I understand. You told me that you're okay being the only person in charge of dealing with the roof and the exterior. So that's why we're focusing on houses. So let's imagine that you're looking to spend about 65,000 euros on the house. There's going to be about 5,700 euros in frais de notaire or closing costs. This will vary depending on the area that you're in France, but these are our local fees. So the total cost will be 70,700 euros for you at closing. You're planning on putting 10% down, which is pretty standard these days. So 7,070 euros. And that means that you need to finance 63,630 euros. So you're going to go for a standard 20-year loan in France. That's what's standard here. And I didn't try to negotiate the interest rate or the insurance rate or anything. I just went with the default numbers online. This calculator online told me that your mortgage payment, therefore, would be about 400 euros a month. So let's assume that you're also going to have about 100 euros a month in charges for property taxes and insurance, P&O, propriétaire non occupant. So you might charge about 600 euros in rent, which is approximately what we charge as well for our house in one of these similar villages. And you're going to have to pay income tax on that. So don't forget, that's important to keep in mind. One thing that you can do to sort of alleviate the tax burden is to do some work on the house, because most renovation work in France is tax deductible, but that's another story for another day. That's another whole complicated layer to this story. But something important to keep in mind. We just don't have time to talk about that today. So I literally just went online last night, May 24th, 2024, after you called. I did a little real estate search on Le Bon Coin, and I filtered by house, and I set the radius around where we are to 100 kilometers. And then I set the max price to 65,000 euros. Just took me a few minutes to look through, and I selected my favorites, and I'm going to show them to you now. Okay, this is house number 1. It's 114 square meters, 65,000 euros, and it's in Telme, which is the village where our other rental property is that I was just telling you about. So I know that the rental market is super strong there. So let's take a look at the house. Looks pretty good from the outside. We can see there's modern windows. Oh, there's some outdoor space, covered outdoor space. Old radiators, but that's okay. That's easy to replace. I mean, this house looks great. It's actually quite similar. It reminds me of the rental property that we have in the very same village, and it's the same price that we paid. You might even be able to negotiate a little bit. So I would set up a visit for this place without hesitation. Next is house number 2, 121 square meters, also 65,000 euros. It's in Beurre-les-Templiers, which is about an hour from where we live, but it's only a 20-minute drive to the CA-Valduc, which is a center for nuclear studies where there are 1,000 employees. It's one of the biggest employers in the region out in a very rural part of our département. So there's a lot of rental demand in that area as well. So I definitely would go and check out this house too and do some more research about the rental market in that area. You can take a look at the photos. It looks so cute. One thing from the photos, the windows look like they're recent as well. One thing from the photos is that we don't see any outdoor space. And that might be something that gives you a little hesitation, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker because we have several properties where there is no outdoor space whatsoever, and we still have a very easy time of renting the places out. So there are some renters who are not only looking for places that have outdoor space and who would be happy to rent a place like this as well. Okay, house number 3, 56,000 euros. What a bargain. 90 square meters in Maligny. So as we click through the photos, it appears that this house does have some outdoor space, which could be nice. It does look like this house would require a lot more work, though, which could be a good thing. Again, these are all elements that we need to take into consideration when we're doing our calculations. So one of the reasons that I chose this house also is because my husband's family lives nearby. It's only about an hour away from where we live as well, but the fact that he has family nearby, it's reassuring on one hand, but also I was thinking, if we do need to do some work, they can probably tell us the names of some local contractors that are trustworthy as well. So that's why I put this one on my list. The next house, 113 square meters in Chanay for 59,000 euros. This one looks great. As you click through the photos, I don't know if you'll have the same reaction that I do. Again, modern windows. Looks like it has potential to me. The only thing is it's quite far away from where we live. It's about 90 minutes, and my husband gets grumpy whenever I make him go on visits that are more than an hour away, which makes sense because if you are going back and forth to your rental properties, sometimes it's nice to keep them a bit closer, or maybe group them and so that they're all in sort of a similar area, but to have rental properties all over the place, and it can make managing them more complicated. So I think I would have to convince him to go visit this one. But for the price and for the condition of the house, I had to include it on my list as well. Okay, I told you that house number 5 was going to be the potentially riskiest investment, but I had to show this one to you as well. It's completely different from the others. This is a house that's in need of a complete renovation. It's on sale for 55,000 euros, so similar in price, but you're going to see the condition is nowhere near similar to the other houses. However, it's in Montly, which if you're a wine connoisseur, you know that that's one of the most prestigious wine villages in Burgundy. So when I saw this house, I immediately thought of converting it into a short-term rental, like a wine-themed short-term rental, which I think could be great. So let's take a look at the photos. It requires a ton of work, a complete renovation. Little sleeping loft, and there's even a wine cellar. So to me, it just looks like it has so much potential. It's listed for 55,000 euros. Banks sometimes are hesitant to lend money for short-term rentals. So it's tricky when you're taking into account the potential rental income. I don't know how you would present this project to the bank. Banks are also hesitant to lend more than the total cost of the property itself. So if you had a loan for 55,000 euros to cover the cost of the property, they might only lend you up to 55,000 euros or so for the work as well, just so that they can limit their risks, of course. And I don't know if it would be possible. You'd have to, again, do some more research into how much it would cost to transform this house into something that was appealing to short-term rental clients. But I looked around on Airbnb and I saw some listings that we could consider like potential competitors, and we're going to take a look at those now. So on Airbnb, I only see 2 listings in the village of Montly, one of which is listed for 678 euros a night. So I'm going to assume it's very luxurious and probably not in the same budget as the type of project that we're imagining for our little house. But the other one, it looks quite similar. If we imagine renovating our little house that we were just looking at, the end result could look something like this. It's very cute, a little sleeping loft. It's even called a maisonette, so a little house. But I wonder why there are only 2 Airbnb listings. Is it because short-term rentals are limited in Montly? You need to do a little bit more research into that as well. And 75 euros a night, that's the price that it's going for in June. But maybe at other times of the year, there's less demand. So you need to do some research on that as well. You can use websites like AirDNA, for example, to do a sort of forecast and see how much rental income you could earn. And another thing, of course, to keep in mind is that running a short-term rental is completely different than running a long-term rental. It requires so much more time and energy. So you'll need to find a team that you really trust on the ground in Montly, unless you're planning on running it yourself and maybe you live nearby, I'm not sure. But that's another thing to consider as well. So you're going to need to take into consideration all of these factors to decide if this is something that you'd be interested in. But when I saw this listing, I just had to share it with you because I thought it was so cute and I thought it had so much potential. If I were in the market, I would definitely check these places out. They may be really disappointing in real life, or in the end, the numbers might just not make sense at all. But that's fine. Getting out there and visiting is really, really valuable. It gives you a chance to meet the real estate agents. It gives you a chance to visit the villages. It gives you a chance to start crunching the numbers, thinking about optimization strategies in terms of space and resources and rental strategies. It's just also a lot of fun. So I wish I had more friends who called me and asked me to help them find rental properties to visit, because I really do enjoy it. Out of the 5 properties that I showed you, are there any that you would be tempted to visit? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're in the area, by all means, go for it. To contact the real estate agents, visit the places, and let me know what they're like in real life. I'm definitely curious. And if you are someone who is thinking about getting into short-term rental, I'm going to link here to a series of videos that I have on our short-term rental. My husband and I converted our garage into a short-term rental a few years ago, and we run every aspect of it ourselves, in addition to our long-term rental properties as well. So there may be some information that's useful for you in this series of videos too. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and à bientôt!